Deze week op Tuesdays wel vanuit Californië, maar dan voor de helft. Ik ben hier op het Coachella Muziekfestival, maar mijn gesprekspartner zit in Ramallah. Saed Nashef investeert in Palestijnse technologiebedrijven. We praten met hem via Skype.
My main focus is on establishing a venture capital fund that's basically going to raise about $50 million to invest in Palestinian companies, existing companies and startups that are going to be mainly focused on software and export-oriented intellectual property.
That meaning software?
Meaning software in general, yes.
So you're trying to raise money internationally to invest in Palestinian software companies?
Exactly.
But what are you thinking? I mean, how can that work if I invest in your fund? Should I do it because I want to make the world a better place and create economic prosperity in Palestine? Or should I do it because I'm expecting to make just cold hard dollars? Or euros, preferably?
So I think your question is a very good question, and we get asked that by potential limited partners that we speak with. The reality is that what we are doing here is something that's completely focused on the business case. For the longest time, there has been many granting organizations, many donor countries who have been pouring money into Palestine, but has always been has always encouraged the Palestinian economy to be more dependent on grants and non-for-profit funding, which really does not create sustainability on the long term. And what we believe needs to happen is to start shifting that stream of funding from donor-dependent to become more business-dependent. Obviously, this is non-charted territory. Nobody has established a venture capital fund before in Palestine. We truly believe that there is a real opportunity for making profit, if not significant profit. But at the same time, we do believe that there is a developmental cost that will be incurred by such an activity. And so if you're an investor who's really looking purely for financial...
Sorry for interrupting, but what do you mean with development cost? What does that mean?
What I mean by developmental cost is that you are going into green territory where a developed ecosystem for a developed high-tech ecosystem for entrepreneurship, innovation, and startups is yet to exist. And so making investments is going to take much more work than if you were your run-of-the-mill venture capital sitting in Silicon Valley or in Herzliya, for that matter, in Tel Aviv, in the Israeli market. So really, as an investor joining our fund, you will need to be obviously financially motivated, but also you will need to also have some social goals. So we call this double bottom line investing. So it's not either or, it's business and social goals that we're going after.
It seems just to the outsider, when you hear this story, that it sounds like a great plan and it's a great, very positive initiative. But what are you thinking? Putting money from us foreigners and Israelis and giving it to the Palestinians, what are they going to do with it? Are they going to build software with it, or are they going to build other stuff with it? Am I cynical?
Well, first of all, just to be clear, money is coming in from international investors. It's not coming in from Israel at all. So at this point, we don't have any Israeli investors, and it's not part of our plan. So, but
isn't that a shame, Saed? Isn't that a shame that there's no Israelis doing this, or what's the reason that they're not doing this?
Well, it's not that they are not doing this. I believe if we go after Israeli investors, we will find them, and there will be many who would be willing to actually do this. But we are actually being pretty sensitive to the political realities that exist on the ground. And we want to make sure that this continues to be a completely apolitical, business-oriented initiative. And that's really very important, because anything that in this region that survives needs to be apolitical. If it starts getting political, then it gets a little bit mangled. But having said that, if you look at the last 5 years or so, probably more 4 years, the current Palestinian government, led by Prime Minister Salam Fayyad, has been making great strides in accomplishing reform across the Palestinian institutions and the governmental institutions, increasing transparency and making sure that things are done right.
It's not like I'm thinking these guys are going to smuggle dollars on goats into the Palestinian territory. It's more that I'm thinking, what happens to companies in Palestine that take your money, that take money from foreign investors? Aren't they going to get in trouble with other Palestinian people? Aren't they going to feel... Let me put it this way. Isn't there a certain danger in having international investors through you investing in Palestinian companies? Are these people safe? Are they going to be threatened? Are you
referring to the entrepreneurs in Palestinian companies, whether these guys are going to be safe, or are you asking about the investors?
No, the investors are going to be safe sitting in New York and just waiting for their statements, I'm
right.
sure. Now, I'm actually meaning the Palestinian guys that take the money from international investors and trying to build software. I'm just thinking, isn't there a certain danger that they will get in trouble accepting money from international investors and building software companies?
No, not at all. Actually, if you come today to Ramallah and almost anywhere in the West Bank, the reality that you see is actually pretty positive and refreshing reality. On one end, the government has been doing a lot to actually help establish an environment that encourages investment. And, Salam Fayyad started an initiative, Prime Minister Salam Fayyad started an initiative 2 years ago to say, hey, Palestine is open for business. They set up a investment promotion agency that's been doing a lot of work to encourage investment. And any international investor is more than welcome, but actually is even encouraged to come in and invest their money. Where we are actually setting maybe blazing a trail is that in our focus on the technology industry. But the fact that Palestinian companies are able to deal with, to take money from international investors and further deal with international customers. We have companies in Palestine that are doing software outsourcing to companies like HP and Cisco. My company in the West Bank is doing outsourcing to companies in Netherlands. We have 3 clients in Amsterdam that today are developing software, using Palestinian software engineers. So the reality on the ground today is very different from what it was 10 years ago. We really do believe that in the worst of situations, IP-based companies that are developing software will continue to be able to perform and deliver under the most extreme situations. And by the way, by default, I'm an optimist, so I don't think that we'll have to deal with that moving forward.
Well, I hope so. And plus, what you're basically saying is, if I understand you correct, is it's very difficult to bomb software.
It is very difficult to bomb software. That's absolutely true.
You use
actually, if you look at a recent example, right in Gaza, when the most recent military campaign, the most recent Israeli military campaign on Gaza was taking place, there were at least 2 software companies in Gaza building software and outsourcing to Mexico, right under the bombing. So that's
wait a second. This goes too quick for me. The Israelis were bombing Gaza, and at the same time, 2 Palestinian companies in there were outsourcing software development to Mexicans?
Yes, exactly.
Who's getting screwed here? I'm getting confused. The Mexicans, the Israelis, or the Palestinians? Someone's getting the short end of the stick here.
Actually, the fact that really does tell you that, at the end of the day, if you're able to actually get a laptop, some electricity and a decent connection to the internet, you can really survive the most extreme situations in terms of building while you still build your business. Because the market, it does not offer a lot of opportunity yet, end up having to leave or to actually do something that's completely unrelated to their field of study. And we really believe that we can actually reverse the brain drain by focusing on building a sustainable high-tech economy. The key thing that today has been missing out of this whole picture that I just painted for you is access to risk capital. Today, that does not really exist. Early stage investment does not exist, and we believe that that is key in terms of bringing the money, but also in terms of bringing the relevant expertise for building companies and also for knowledge transfer and access to international markets and access to networks as well.
Okay, so what else should we know in closing? What should we know about your fund and what's going on in Palestine, and why should we be optimistic about what's going on based on the internet and based on modern technology?
These kids have an amazing level of dedication and perseverance. I think in general, students coming out of Palestinian universities have an intrinsic motivation to prove themselves and tell the world that they can really do something of value to offer to the rest of the world. And it really actually drives them very hard. So I was really impressed with my experience as an entrepreneur. And that's really what convinced me that getting in this venture capital effort as an investor is actually worthwhile pursuing.
Yes, one final question that I had for you. Are you Israeli or are you Palestinian? Is that important?
You know what? I really don't think that is really very important in the sense of what we're trying to do. Culturally, it's really a kind of a mixed bag. I mean, I spent 19 years in the U.S. and over there, that's where I kind of developed my professional career, and a lot of the things that I do today have a lot of impact and influences from these years that I spent in the U.S. But at the end of the day, I'm definitely Palestinian.
Now you tell me.
So I identify with that, and that is something that gives me great motivation in terms of what I'm trying to do in Palestine. But I also do have the Israeli citizenship, but as well as the U.S. citizenship.
I don't care because it ain't much if it ain't Dutch. Just so you know.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'll try to get the Dutch citizenship just for that line.
Just for that line, you can use that one. Well, thank you very much for your time and all your information. Really appreciate it. I wish you all the best with trying to raise the fund and investing all that money in good Palestinian companies. And keep us posted on what's going on, and we'll see the first Palestinian company go public when?
Well, hopefully in the next 5 to 6 years.
Well, let's hope you're in it, man. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Take care. One of our key investors, and the reason I talk about that is because that is already public information, is the European Investment Bank. So congratulations, Europe. You guys came through.
And we're always trying to help where we can. We like to donate money, even if we don't have a clue we just did that. But thanks.